Miami Hurricanes Live. Here we go. Episode number 231 here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate everybody being here. Apologize for being 15 minutes late, as you possibly picked up in the live chat there. I left a message a few minutes ago. The Wholesome One's always needing to hustle from work, and whether he's coming from school or work, I don't know, but hustle to get here and join us at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So he just texted me and said he'll be here in just a couple minutes. So I thought I'd get things started. And again, appreciate all of you and your patience. Okay. Major League Baseball's back. So maybe we can talk about that for the next 15 minutes, waiting for the Wholesome One. I don't know. All right, let's get to the chat here. Exploring with Ben loves being first. And Ben, we love you being first. Michael Becker, what's up? Canes family, Mr. HD's here as well. Yeah, I did notice that commit. You know, what's funny is I was doing a punctual job of checking the transfer portal every day to see of any announcements and the 2022 and now 2023 commits. That was part of my regular regimen every day. And if there was a new commit or a transfer portal edition or somebody announcing that they were going into the transfer portal, bam, I would cut a video. And I've just kind of lost track of that. But I went in today and I thought, man, I got to get back on that every day to produce videos for commits and transfer portal players. And I saw the Miami one and I was about to produce a video and post it. And then I thought, we got a show tonight. I think the Wholesome One will do a better job than myself. Yes, Antonio TRIPP Jr. Has committed to Miami. Tim, good to see you here tonight. Appreciate Tim, USC fan in the Miami live stream. Appreciate Tim being here. Any of you guys join the Voice of College Football Discord channel yet? Key question right there. So I have left the link to Patreon. So what you do is you go to Patreon and consider this. Patreon's $5 a month. And many of you contribute much more than that. And even if you don't at this point, there is no issue with that. Certainly, I want everyone to contribute in whatever way that you feel comfortable and in whatever way that you believe that we are offering something of value to you, whether that's here on the Miami channel, the main channel, any one of the 25 channels. So we ask that you at least like the videos. And if you really enjoy the content, that you would share the videos out on social media. So this is just another way right here. So we've got a Patreon channel. And I know that at least through the season, the big calling card on Patreon was one of two things. When I asked people, why are you on Patreon? And we've got about 50 people on Patreon right now. And we would love for that to be 500 and then 5,000. But right now, 50 people on Patreon. And people responded in one of two ways. They always said either, number one, Mark, we just want to contribute, just want to support you. We don't care if you do anything on here. You don't need to do anything. You produce 1,000 videos a week. You don't need to do anything else. So I greatly appreciate that, but I cannot rely on that. And I don't expect everyone just to say, we'll give you $5. You don't need to do anything. But I fully respect and I totally appreciate those people that just say, you know what, Mark, you don't need to do anything here. You're running 25 channels. Here's just the $5 just to support right here. So there's a number of people that say that. The other half of the people roughly seem to say, hey, Mark, we are here because of your predictions. But there are no predictions. It's not college football season. So I thought we need to really ramp this up and provide a value for everyone. And so I thought of Discord. I got that idea actually from Logan Robinson on Noel Game Day, just knowing that they were doing Discord, and somebody else had I had a few other people suggested, and so I got into it and looked at it because I knew nothing about it. And so we started Discord on the Voice of College Football. So all of our Patreon members, which is I believe 53 right now, I've got it right in front of me, 53 people have access to Discord, and it's just a big chat room. It's a big chat room, and it's an organized chat room where I've divided it into a national channel, and then each conference. So there's an ACC channel. And then depending on the popularity of various channels and the fan base is represented there, we may become so big and popular, and there might be so much Miami discussion, for example, that we'll just start a Miami channel. And when I say channel, it's just a chat room. They call it a channel. It's just a big chat room, just a big message board, and you guys can all talk. I jump in there once a day at least to see what's going on and who's talked about what, and to respond to all of you. So join us on Patreon. Then you can hook up with us on Discord. And so when you join Patreon, you'll see everything that we've got offered there on Patreon, which right now would be my predictions during the season, the predictions of about 20 media members that you see here on a regular basis, including the Wholesome One, took part in the 2021 season predictions. So we post predictions from myself and, again, 20 media members during the season, including a lot of guys that you would recognize from here at the Voice of College Football. And then we offer to produce one exclusive live stream per week there, per request. So I underline that, per request, one exclusive live stream per week. And now Discord. So sign up on Patreon, $5 a month. And then when you do, there's a link that you will see. It's the most recent post. I just posted a fresh link because the links become dated at some point after a few days. So I posted a new link, and you can grab that link right at the top of the Patreon page, and that should bring you right into Discord. And we'll talk college football right there. So, Tim, thank you so much for being the #1 promoter of Discord. Tim is on it. Falcon Rex, appreciate you being here, as always. You know that. So hopefully the Wholesome One is going to join us soon. We do have a hard out at 9 p.m. Eastern time because I set up a live stream as those Oregon Ducks, Mario Cristobal's former team, they open spring ball today, and we are doing an Oregon Live at 9 Eastern with my guy Ryan Winter from Sports Staff 530. Exploring with Ben. Yes. Anytime somebody tells me I'm busy, I really appreciate that excuse. But you know what? We're all busy. We're all busy to various extent. So, yeah. So I was here at 8 o'clock, and we're good to go. So I always kind of go back and forth when my guest is not here on time. And again, not blaming the Wholesome One at all. He has to hustle to get here on time. And, you know, if you don't punch a clock, depending on your job or your assignment, he may get out later on certain Thursdays. So he is always hustling to get here on time at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday. And then I always kind of weigh if he's about 2 or 3, 4 minutes late, should I jump on and start the show? I'm not going to be able to deliver the answers on Miami football as much as, of course, he or Cam Underwood can. Or do we wait until he's available? But it was about 15 after, so I thought I better jump on. Terrence is here. Appreciate you being here. Smash the like button. You know, if somebody really understands YouTube, they could explain this. I just know that it helps the channel. I know that it helps the show. I know that it helps the channel. We usually get about 3,000 views on these shows. And YouTube treats it differently. If you've got 3,000 views and you got 100 likes, then if you've got 3,000 views and you got 1,000 likes, they just treat it differently. And they will shove that 1,000-like video into traffic. They figure people like it enough to take the time to hit the like button. And I understand it's not a pain. I was going to call it a pain. It is not a pain. It's not exactly digging a ditch to hit the like button. Click. But I understand it's an annoyance, or it doesn't cross your mind, because I watch all sorts of videos that I love, and it doesn't cross my mind to hit the like button. I do it all the time myself. But now that I'm asking all of you on a consistent basis to hit the like button, that has caused me to remember myself when I'm watching YouTube videos that I really like, that I have been much more adamant about hitting the like button, because now I remember, oh, I'm telling everybody to hit the like button for me. I better hit the like button. Scott Sprad just got married. Congratulations, Scott. That is awesome news. We see Scott with his, what I believe could either be nieces and nephews or his two children. I don't know. But Scott, congratulations. That is awesome news. Thank you for sharing that with us. That is, I love when people share their successes and their celebrations with us. So Scott, that is some tremendous news. Congratulations. Enjoy, and our best to you and your wife, your new wife. Yes, that's amazing. Love the show, Mark. Go Canes. Hit the like button. Yes, Eric promotes as well. I know he does. Thank you, Tim. Yes, he does. Charles, let's go Canes. The U. Okay. Chris says here, Mark, did you see any of the highlights from the first 2 days of spring practice? I did not. I wouldn't even know where to find those. I guess I would just look them up on the major Miami websites. I haven't looked at anything right now concerning, man, I have been pretty much sitting here since 10 a.m. this morning. I did an SEC segment. I did a segment with Zach Smith from Menace to Sports. I did, oh my goodness, what else did we do today? Georgia and Michigan State and some other teams. And I think the Wholesome One is just about ready to come in. I believe. Bam, there he is. H1H, what's going on today?
Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Mark, how you doing, man?
We're good.
Thank you for being patient with me, man. We got spring ball starting on Monday, so it's been really hectic.
That's what I figured.
But you know, at the end of the day, I'm gonna always be here for my obligations, and I'm here. So let's talk Canes football, baby.
Let's do it. Yeah. As was mentioned in the live chat, they picked up a commitment today. Now, I know you were running around busy, so I don't know if you had any time to see that, let alone get a look at that. Antonio TRIPP is the player, and I would have to look it up myself. I was telling everyone that I was in a pretty good habit for months and months and months of keeping track of the transfer portal and 2022 commits and now 23 commits and producing videos. And I almost jumped on this. And then I thought, you know what? We got a show tonight. So people can hear from somebody a lot better than me. But Antonio TRIPP.
The offensive guard, right?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
The offensive guard, correct?
The offensive guard, yeah. 6'3", 300. Mm-hmm. He's a top 20 BMB guard in the country, interior offensive lineman out of So Mario Cristobal goes up to Maryland. I was trying to make something out of that. That's the first thing I looked at. I said, oh, got him out of Maryland. Wow. What's the connection there? He's the 7th rated player in the state. He's number 329 nationally. Owings Mills, Maryland, 2023 class. He had 17 offers. And there we go.
Well, you know, Mark, one thing about Coach Cristobal, and I love the way Canes Twitter, hashtag Canes Twitter, man. Make sure y'all be in Canes Twitter. It's amazing. In Canes Twitter, the main thing we're talking about is the thing we've needed to have fixed. We won't have to worry about, Mark, offensive line, defensive line. Those are two things we won't have to worry about moving forward. The trenches at Miami. Hopefully you can still hear me because my camera keeps freezing.
I got you.
Okay, cool. The trenches at Miami have been either subpar or above average for about a decade. You know, Mark, we've had a couple. We've had an R.J. McIntosh. We've had a John Feliciano, an Eric Flowers, a Sean Cheryl Henderson. Jalen Rivers this year, Navon Donaldson as a freshman, Gerald Willis, Kendrick Norton. We've had some Joe Jack. Like we've had a couple people that stood out. And there's a reason why I could call them out by name, because they maybe had a season or two, as opposed to be like, you know what? Miami's offensive line, Miami's defensive line, period. You know, regardless of the last names on the back, regardless of the numbers in the front and in the back, it doesn't change. You're going to get quality offensive and quality defensive alignment from the University of Miami. And now you will have that. That's just, like I said, we won't have to worry about that. In Miami, is it going to be really too loose on wide receiver. We're going to be really good at getting receivers and running backs. What we're going to have to really compete for is going to have to be cornerbacks, in my opinion, cornerbacks and linebackers. Those are the two positions that I think Miami's going to have to really compete with the likes of Florida, the likes of LSU, with the likes of Bama, the likes of Georgia, Texas A&M for like the big premium guys. But Coach Cristobal spent such a great, 5 years over in the Pacific Northwest and Oregon, building a great relationship. And you're talking about a coach who has specified the importance of building a relationship 2 or 3 years out from commitment date. What that means is this young man who just committed to us has spoken about the relationship him and his family has had with the knowledge of, or direct connection from being invited to Oregon camps or things of that nature with Coach Cristobal and Coach Mirabal since he was a sophomore. Okay. And in some parts, by going to camps and things of that nature as a freshman. But he has had a previous connection with Coach Cristobal. Now, we all know Coach Cristobal recently lost his mother this past week, right before spring ball started for Miami. So it was a very emotional time for the University of Miami, for Kane's Twitter, and for the University of Miami, family, the U family, as we like to call it. It was a very emotional time. And this young man spoke about that in his commitment and saying that, the way that Coach Cristobal handled that, and, he still communicate with us, still recruiting, even though going through a hardship like that. That's the coach I want to play for. That's the coach I want to fight for. That's a coach who's going to teach me how to be able to take the highs and lows of life and still keep going, regardless of what happens around us. And me and my family want to be a part of that. And that's who I want to be coached up by. And when he said that kind of stuff, man, it really hit home for a lot of us, man, Mark, because, we all go through things. And while you have the opportunity to be playing football or have a job or coaching or YouTube, whatever it is, life is still going to happen. That sun is still going to come up and it's going to come down. And then you're going to lose people, and you have to be able to still keep going and to have people around you to teach you how to be mentally strong enough to endure and to be able to be steadfast and keep going and see it through. That's important. So when this young man, spoke that way about his commitment, all I hope is that he stays a Miami Hurricane, because that's the kind of young man you want to coach right there.
Yeah, I know this is a football show, but I think you bring up something that's very important, that we all go through things. So we all go through, unfortunately, death of loved ones. We all go through personal hardships, whether those are broken relationships or illnesses in the family or financial difficulties or just a lot of other things. And, sometimes I'll hear somebody make a judgment about somebody else because either they think that person is weak because they weren't able to get through a situation, or they had to step away from their job, or they had to step away from something and they couldn't handle it. And and that's ridiculous to think that way and place that kind of judgment. And then I've also heard a judgment on the other hand to say, oh, that person's, father just died, or somebody just died in their family, and they just act like, and they're just still working and they still coach this game and whatever. They must not really. I've heard those comments made too.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is everybody deals with grief differently.
Mm-hmm.
And some people it really helps them just to push through it and work. And, for them to sit in their bedroom and cry
And soak in it, yeah.
it's not, doesn't help them. It helps them to stay on course and work and do their best to try to fight through it that way. For other people, they need to break free, and they need to. So I just it always bothered me when people were harsh and judgmental about the way different people handle difficulties in their life.
And Mark, the toughest part about that is when you go into the media side of things, and you got to make articles, and you're contractually obligated when you work for someone else, not like something you do where you used to, but now you work for you, and we all come on with you and talk about our teams. But If you want to take a day, you can. If you want to take an hour, 5 hours, you can. If you don't want to upload that day, which I don't think I've ever seen you not upload on one of your 50 channels. Even in the beautiful part about YouTube is you're able to like schedule stuff. So you could have really recorded this video a week ago and no one would know, unless it says live. And I look at it when things happen and people try to spew it and change it into this whole and twist it. And, we had a horrific Florida Gator fan who said that we this young Coach Cristobal used the loss of his mother to jinx the player into committing, and it's like, why? Why even say something like that? The trolling gets to a point, but why even? And some people say, "Oh, why would you even bring that up?" Because it doesn't. It makes sense to shine light on people like that because they deserve to be they deserve to be cooked, as we say on Twitter. There's no way on God's green earth that you type that and think that was okay to say something like that. And, I wouldn't expect anything else from a Tallahassee or a Gator person. They're just, those are the type of people they are. And I just hope that this Coach Cristobal is able to keep going through it. I haven't lost a parent or grandparents. Thank God for that. But to see him go through that first presser right before he left to go to her service. And, the question was going to come up and he handled it with class. And he took about 10 seconds, Mark, and it felt like listening to it, it felt like the longest 10 seconds. He just put his head down and he's looking at the ground. And this is where she would want me to be. This is, because the beautiful part is that he was able to come home and the job was open and we let go of, the previous coach and things worked out to get the contract, and he was able to spend the last 2 or 3 months with her because she had been reportedly sick for a better part of the last year. So she held on long enough, and the beautiful part is that she was able to see him become the University of Miami football head coach. So don't want to spend too much time on that out of respect for Coach Cristobal and respect for the rest of the show, but prayers out to him and his family, and thank God for the strength to be able to make it through hardships that happen in his life.
Yeah, I guess I only say what I say because, again, I see people get criticized for, and you just threw out an example right there. There's trolling on social media, but there should be a line drawn when you deal with situations like that. That you shouldn't even come anywhere close to there. I was in a production truck in Birmingham, Alabama at SEC Football Media Days and got word from my wife at the time that my father had a heart attack, and he was, a couple thousand miles away, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I was supposed to be on the news in like 20 minutes. I'm editing, doing all this stuff, and I'm going to be on the news. So, that really hit me hard. But I couldn't do, that's just another example of, it was my job to go on the news in 20 minutes and talk about football. And so that's what I did. Somebody could have watched me and thought, he didn't really care that his dad had a heart attack. And that was completely, the furthest thing from the truth, but it's just what I had to do. So, yeah. All right. Fresh Northwest.
Yeah, that's the co-host over on Paul's Scoop.
Yes.
On the U, man, and they do an amazing job daily, or if not like every other day. They get recruits, Mark, to come on with them live and ask them questions, man. Amazing content. Paul's a good friend of mine. North Fresh, continue to do what you guys are doing. Hey, God bless, man. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah, Northwest anchored our post game here at the Voice of College Football after the Miami game season.
That's right.
Those guys, between him and Jordan, they were phenomenal. Amazing. Did a great job. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Armando Y, good to see you right here. He's got a question. We appreciate the super chat, Armando, about Michael McLaughlin, who came in the 2021 class as a top 25 offensive tackle. So he's been in the system for a year. And what do you think his chances are of starting?
I don't know about starting. But Mark, if you go back a week from now, he was one of those players that I was very, very excited on. He's one of those 6'7", 6'8" mountain guys who came in. Yes, he was the one that came. He was the 240 guy that I was telling you about. That was a tight end who was transitioning offensive tackle
Yeah.
at the collegiate level, and now he's north of 300 pounds. So, man, he looks real good. He looks real good. I personally would hope that we can give him another mango season. But if he were to earn the job, which especially your head coach is an offensive line. So if he earns the job, they don't care if he's 17 or 23. The young man will get it. But I think if he's able to, because I believe he's backing up Zion Nelson at left tackle, which to me, he's not going to start over Zion. But if John Campbell is not healthy enough to be able to come back and be ready to go, then start him over at the right tackle position. And now you got him for 3 straight years. Marquise, he's one of those guys where if he would have went to an Iowa or Wisconsin, you basically pencil in like the 23rd overall pick to the Saints, Michael McLaughlin. Because he was one of those underrated. You watched his film, he was very aggressive, very nice. His frame, very well put together. And if he was able to get into the right strength and conditioning program mixed with the right coach, man. So we're
Falcon
hoping.
Rex.
Oh, sorry.
Appreciate you being here. Oh, I'm sorry. Wholesome One. I think you froze there and I might have talked over you. Falcon Rex, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. You're our guy. Tim, USC fan, H1H. What's your feel on Josh Connerly? So Josh Connerly, if anyone's not familiar, arguably the number 1 rated offensive tackle in the country. Washington State, only one of 2 top 300 players that have yet to sign out of the 22 class. Which 2 schools do you think are most likely to sign him?
I would say I think Cam Underwood speaks on this greatly. It seems like that conversation always comes up with Cam. The recruiting conversations come up with Cam. Y'all know Cam's the recruiting guides. I love it. I love the way our Miami Hurricanes fan base, kind of understands the type of show you're about to get from all our contributors, and whether it's Paul or Cam or me, and that makes me smile, man. That's beautiful because we all do things amazingly, and we all represent the University of Miami in a great way, and that makes me happy. But to answer your question, I think it'll be somebody on the West Coast. Number one, he's from that side, and like the keys to recruiting on State of the Youth for Cam Underwood always talks about is follow the visits. And he came here on an official, but he hasn't paid his way here yet, and hasn't come to swing his way over here and on his own dime just yet. So I know Coach Cristobal was recruiting this young man very heavily while he was at Oregon. He has a great relationship with Coach Cristobal and Coach Alex Mirabal, but I think the distance could play a part in it. And hopefully I'm wrong as hell and he picks Miami. But as of right now, I think it might be somewhat of a UW, University of Washington, or UCLA or USC lean. Just being on that side. And he also loves the sport of basketball too. So, and I think Pac-12 people are a little bit more lenient with letting you play both or whatever. So I think that will work out a lot better.
I also believe that the University of Michigan is in the mix there for Mr. Connerly.
But wasn't his recruiter, didn't they move on?
I'm sorry. What was that?
His main recruiter from Michigan.
Oh, from Michigan moved on.
I think he took another job somewhere. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I read about it, which is why people kept asking from the Miami side if that would help, because I believe one of his main recruiters was Coach Josh Gaddis. And Coach Josh Gaddis coming to Miami, I think really helped us out, obviously, as a recruiter. So I believe that's what I was reading. I could be wrong.
Let's see what the crystal ball looks like right now. The crystal ball is, unless they have yet to update this, they're at 80-20 Michigan over Washington.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so it was Josh Gaddis. That was his main recruiter. Okay. Well, I mean.
But Josh Gaddis being a main recruiter, that helps Miami as well.
Absolutely. And of course, them winning the Joe Moore Award really helps Michigan because their offensive line was dominant until they played Georgia. But you know how people get about the South. They want to hate on the South just cause. So shout out to them.
Falcon Rex, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the contribution. Thanks for being here. Wholesome One, you were going down the different flavor of each show depending on who the analyst is. Cam couldn't make it last night, so I was on here for about 30 or 40 minutes. Then you get a much different looking show when you just have me on here answering from the national perspective on the Canes. But I think we had a good time. Everybody asking their questions. Sadrack checking in. Hit the like button. Question, Wholesome One. Outside of Texas A&M, what is the most anticipated game this upcoming season?
Tallahassee. During homecoming at Hard Rock Stadium, and Coach Cristobal's first time playing Tallahassee since he was a GA in the late 90s, early 2000s.
My different spin on it would be, of course, the Florida State game is the rivalry game for Miami, and that's just different when you talk USC, UCLA, Auburn, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Miami. That's just in a different category. But since Miami does not play Clemson every year, and that's only a 1 out of every 6 years game in the ACC. Now they got changed because of the COVID season and they played all ACC. But if you're not familiar with the ACC scheduling format, Miami's Florida State rival cross division, but the other game rotates. So it's 6 teams. So they only play Clemson, for example, once out of every 6 years. And they've got Clemson coming up this year. And just them being the kings of the conference and in Miami wanting to get there, I'm really curious to watch that one.
Yeah, I for one, I really don't want to go there. That's a good day today. I don't want to turn into that guy. But man, that loss. I'm thankful for it because if we would have won that game, then our head coach would still be Manny Diaz. I wholeheartedly believe that. I wholeheartedly believe if we win that game, our head coach's name is Diaz. But because we lost, there was no one for him to turn to. We got all the changes necessary, all the investments necessary to hopefully help take this program to a different level. All right. But besides my own personal vendetta with that horrible school, I think one of the most important games is going to have to be North Carolina also. On our side, they have been a thorn in our behind, like Virginia. It's just been one of those weird, like Virginia and North Carolina, Georgia Tech for also. Those 3 teams always have played the University of Miami hard since the minute we joined the conference. UNC, of course, because of the connection of Butch Davis, who helped take their program to a really high stratosphere also. So it felt like a nice pseudo rivalry because him and his coaches from Miami got together up in Chapel Hill and, were beating our heads in sometimes when we didn't have the best teams. Okay. That Georgia Tech triple option, the most successful Miami Hurricanes coach against Georgia Tech was Al Golden because of the Mark Diafano 3-4. It was a lot harder to read the 3-4 if you have a 4-eye and a stand-up 9 technique standing outside. So it really ruined the read option because they didn't, they would just keep giving a dive. And it's a nose there with a mic slamming right behind them. So, they got us to 2014, but I think I truly believe Al Golden was like 4-1 against Georgia Tech. And sometimes it was like blowing them out against Georgia Tech. So we got a lot to work on as far as highly anticipated. I'll tell you this to answer your question. I'm super excited for the point where I don't have to worry about the Dukes, the Virginias, and down Virginia Techs. Where I can say, you know what, this is one of those games where we can really lean on our elite offensive line and just blow them off the ball. I haven't been able to say that ever. So I'm waiting on that day to be able to say that.
Well, it's a good point about North Carolina because they've recruited better than anyone in the division, not named Miami. And this is why we got to play the games and see how the season plays out. Because when we were sitting here this time last year, North Carolina had one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Sam Howell. They had playmakers all over the place. They were coming off a Orange Bowl season, and they looked to be the main barrier in
Team.
Miami's path,
Yeah.
and Miami was coming off 8-3, and those were two that and they still are the two best teams in the division. But so we thought, well, they're going to beat everyone, and then when they play, that's going to be the division decider. No, it wasn't. They both lost a bunch of games to a bunch of other teams, and it turned out to be a big mishmash. And of course, Pitt won the division again for the third straight year. The division winner lost to Miami. So Miami shows that they are better than the division winner when they play them, but they lose other games and they don't win the division.
And for somebody on the outside looking in, that's like laughable. But for those of us in it, it's heartbreaking because it's like every time we got on the field with the teams. I mean, Mark, you look at last year when this team took it personal, they went out there and played their asses off, excluding Alabama. Obviously, Alabama's Alabama. So once they got out there and realized, oh crap, it got bad real fast. But NC State was a better team on paper than us. I was very worried going into that game. I picked us to lose. Pittsburgh, I thought we were going to beat them. We did. So when we got on the same field and we took it personal, and we're like, you know what, we're going to prove you all wrong. Besides Bama, we showed up and did our thing. But when we just looked at it like, whatever, you're down 17-0 to Tallahassee, and have to make this storming comeback to beat a team that ain't going to a bowl game. So it's about the focus, and that's why I'm really hoping Coach Cristobal and this new staff that he puts together is just really going to get them to focus. Because I think that's what we have been missing. Yeah, we're not the most talented team. I'm not arguing that. But I'm saying as far as this is going to be a tough out, well-coached, well-disciplined Miami Hurricanes team. I haven't been able to say that since maybe 2016, 17, Mark Richt's first 2 years, because he was kind of a no-nonsense type of coach. And you saw the way our players went out there and played in certain instances. They were very focused and determined to get the objective done. And that's what we need back.
September 17th at Texas A&M, boy. That's going to tell us a lot.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's going to tell us a lot.
I don't know how to feel about that one, Mark. I think that again, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Clemson. Those are the 4 games that I'm going to be real. Because Tallahassee, you're going to get turned up for. Texas A&M, you're going to have an emotional kind of thing for. But Clemson has our number. Clemson has us psychologically beat, if you ask me. Those other teams are riled off. Virginia beat us. Late field goal miss, but they still beat us. North Carolina, again, psychologically has us beat. So what about the focus level of our guys? And like I said, you're well within your right to have, what you're saying, tell us a lot. And I get where you're coming from, because anytime Miami lined up against an elite or a pretty good team before, they're getting blown out. So, of course, if you look up and it's 28-7 at half, like you said, it tells us a lot. And if you look up and it's 28-21 and Miami's fighting and they're swinging and it's toe-to-toe, again, it tells us a lot. So you're not wrong at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue it to be one of the more important games, because it's not a conference game. So it's still important, but it's not a conference game. So Miami could lose. Now, they're not going to, and you don't want to do this, but they could go 0-4 outside the conference and still win the conference.
Right.
It doesn't count toward the conference, but now when this team's gunning for playoff position, which might be this year, then it is important.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes, the ACC is not going to.
Someone asked, am I okay that we don't have a Kendrick Norton type?
Oh yeah.
I mean, no, Aaron Frazier. I get it is an important game. I'm not saying it's not important. It's just for me, there's other games that right now in March I feel will tell me more. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm not throwing it away. I'm not saying we're gonna kick their butt. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is that, in my opinion, there's other more important games for me personally. That's all I'm saying. It is a very, very important game. Yes. I'm not worried about us not having the Kendrick Norton type, because I think we will eventually. I think if Jordan Miller could get his confidence in his body ready to go, because he's the guy now. The times before, he had Ford in front of him. He had Nesta in front of him. Now he has to step up. He has to step up. I think he's a fifth-year junior or something like that. It's time. It's time to start showing us something on the football field.
True comment by Chris here. I kind of misspoke. So the season before, of course, the Orange Bowl season is what I meant, with Javonte Williams and oh my goodness, can't remember the other back's name. Anyway, the 2,000-yard backs. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, Chaz Surratt on defense was their best player the year before, and the three receivers that they lost.
They had a squad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They had a unit. And that was the thing, that game was super hyped. And we all were like, hey, this is for the Coastal. But, that year it was kind of weird. So it was like Notre Dame went regardless. So it really wasn't for an Orange Bowl berth. So in all actuality, we could have saw Miami, Texas A&M a season ago now for the Orange Bowl. But, hey, 62-26, running for a record margin, man. That's why I say, man, we got to get
Michael Carter. Anyway, just remembered his name. Kylaren is asking if Tyler Van Dyke is the best player on the field in every game we play this season. Before you answer that, let me just throw this out there. For me in football, to say somebody's the best player on the field, that's just always, for me, a tough call.
Right.
Because the positions are so different. How do you compare an offensive lineman to a quarterback, to a cornerback, to a linebacker, et cetera, et cetera? So to say he's the best player on the field, he's a quarterback. He's such a different player than everybody else. But anyway, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but certainly playing the most important position.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly from what you just said. When you ask, is he the best player on the football field? And see, that's what I'm saying. It feels like I'm taking a slight at our quarterback. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I'm just going to say no. Yes, there's going to be very highly sought after, highly rated, highly talented guys we're going to play. When we play Clemson, there's going to be guys who are highly sought after more than him. Former 5 stars and things of that nature at Clemson and at Texas A&M that we're going to have to play against this season. So with that being said, I'm going to say no, he is not the most talented guy in every game, but there will clearly be games. I would probably say maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 or out of 12 that we play where he will be, if not the best, one of the best games or one of the best players in the game that we have on the football field.
Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right. We are at the bottom of the line of the chats here. I also am looking at the comments that have come in and the questions to the channel throughout the week.
Oh, yeah. Got plenty of those, Mark. Plenty of those.
I'm also working on ACC all-time program rankings. I totaled up the points just a few minutes ago, so I'll be producing that video, so be looking out for that one. It's an interesting race.
Do yes. We count in that? Because okay, because I was going to say all of our historic teams are Big East teams.
Yeah, see, that's, and I say that in each video because there's so much back and forth between teams leaving conferences and jumping into there. You cannot possibly dissect it. There's not enough the conference changes so much. So if you look at the ACC, you've got 6 of the schools that are currently in the ACC out of the 14. 6 of them started in the ACC at the outset of the ACC, are charter members of the ACC, 1953. And then you move up to 78, you had Georgia Tech. And then you move up to
Who's
92,
originally
you
an
had
SEC team.
originally
For
an
people who
SEC
don't
team,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you move up. So there's when I will list conference championships, those are going to be conference championships from everywhere. Because I didn't want to make this a 10-year project where I got to dissect every little thing. But so it's interesting because this is the first conference. So I've done the Pac-12 and the Big 12, and there is a definite king of the conference. This is interesting because Clemson obviously has been dominant the last 7 or 8 years, and most of their football history, they've been good, not dominant, but good. Top 15 to 25 good. Florida State, obviously, just once they stepped into this conference in 1992, they just flat out owned it for a good 10 to 15 years. And then obviously Miami from the early 80s to the early 2000s were an all-time great program. So when you put all that together, it's a pretty interesting race between those 3.
I would definitely, I would second that, and that's the reason why I asked, because we joined in 05 or 4 or 5, somewhere
4.
in there.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think any of our, I don't even remember, to be honest with you, Mark, I don't know how many guys have even really made an all conference, like first team. I remember we won in 2017 and we win our division outright, maybe one close game on that side, besides Pitt, the loss, which was a late, Hail Mary against Georgia Tech. But at the end of the day, how did we only have one all conference player out of that, and our kicker, Michael Badgley? So I don't know how people view conference biases. I don't know, but it's crazy to sit and think the players that have come through Miami that have never even been on first team all conference, but will turn around and be a first team all American. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Like Greg Rousseau, Jalen Phillips. No.
Yeah.
Billy P, I believe. Hey man, I'm not writing off the game. I'm not scared of them. I just think that Texas A&M is a little further than we are right now as a program. And anybody who watched both teams the last couple of seasons, if they were being unbiased, would say the same thing. They are a little bit ahead or a lot ahead of where Miami is right now. Yes, you infuse Coach Cristobal, you infuse this staff. I get that. But until we see them on the same football field and we see what happens once we snap that football, as of right now, I think they're a better program and a better team.
Sadrack, watch my video. You may think differently. There's no question Florida State's the best ACC program since they've been in the conference. That's all there is to it. It's just not even. But again, it's not a straight comparison because Miami was in the Big East during or an independent during their best time. So it's not a straight comparison. And I say that it's not a perfect system because it's impossible to track these teams jumping in and out of conferences and comparing conference titles and so forth. So anyway, watch my video when it comes out. I have completely lost track of time. I'm way late for my Oregon live stream, but let's honor the super chat coming in from Armando. Well, TVD, which is an interesting question considering Charleston Rambo's gone, Mike Harley's gone, and quarterbacks need wide receivers to make them look good. So will TVD take a step back if number one wide receiver steps up?
I will take what you're saying based on the question and the way that you placed it. If no one steps up, then yes, I believe that answer to be obvious. But I don't see that to being the answer. I believe that there are plenty of people, whether it's Jacoby George, whether it's Xavier Restrepo, whether it's Bashard Smith, whether it's Romello Brixton, whether it's Dante Jackson, whether it's Will Mallory, whether it's Elijah Arroyo, whether it's Jalen Knight out the backfield, I believe there are plenty of people, whether it be just a number one wide receiver or not, there are plenty of other people who have now had chemistry with Tyler Van Dyke, who has the ability to step up. I would have elaborated a lot more, but Mark just said he got to get out of here. So I
Well,
appreciate
like
you
the
all.
wholesome one said here, you pretty much answered your question, Armando. It's like saying, is Aaron Rodgers' completion percentage going to go down if the Packers drop 100 passes next year? Yes, it is. It has to. So, yeah, he needs wide receivers to step up and play well. He can't catch the ball for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
Wholesome one. Appreciate it, man. Good stuff.
Absolutely,
Sorry it
man.
was short.
No, it's all good, man. Thank you. Thank you again for allowing me to come on, man. Thank you all Canes fans for being here. And as always, go Canes.
Back with the wholesome one next Thursday. We'll see you then.